Why doesn't anybody ever want to meet Ringo?
Hey everybody, I'm Dalek44 and Jesus Christ, it's fucking hot. Yeah, it's summer and it's like 30 odd degrees over here in England. And I've tried a few things to try and keep myself cool. I went out into the garden and had a glass of water. I even tried to cool myself off with some extra water. But that didn't work either. And it's hotter than ever in the garden, so I thought if I'm going to melt, might as well melt inside my own house. Makes me think of going on holiday or something, like the Tiny Toons did. Tiny Toon Adventures: How I Spent My Vacation is a 1992 American direct-to-video animated comedy film from Warner Bros. Animation and Amblin Entertainment, featuring the regular characters from the animated program Tiny Toon Adventures. The film follows them during their summer vacation from school. So were the Tiny Toons' vacation a great success, or was it a huge bomb? Well, let's take a look. The film opens at Acme University as the Tiny Toon Adventures characters wait for the clock to strike 3 so their summer vacation can start. As the clock finally strikes 3, they leave for their summer vacations. Babs and Buster Bunny, no relation, have a water pistol fight which eventually escalates in their flooded Acme Acres, and the bunnies float from flooded Acme Acres down to the southern United States, where they continuously avoid getting eaten by the river's residents. Meanwhile, Plucky Duck joins Hampton J. Pig and his family as they drive to the amusement park Happy World Land, which many would say is a Disney World knockoff.
And it's heading for a great big lawsuit.
The trip turns out to be very long and painful for Plucky, who becomes annoyed with the family's habits and is almost killed by an escaped convict that the pigs mistake for a hitchhiker.
You really haven't got any brains at all, have you?
Meanwhile, Amira Duff becomes upset after losing her cat Furball. When her family visits the nature park, she tortures a ton of innocent zoo animals. Fifi LaFume spends time with a film actor, Johnny Pugh, voiced by Rob Paulson, who turns out to be a complete dick. And Shirley the Loon has to put up with foul mouth on the beach and in the cinemas. And the whole film is just pretty much showing the Tiny Toons characters in their many adventures in Acme Acres and beyond. So, what are my thoughts on Tiny Toon Adventures: How I Spent My Vacation? Well, let me put it this way. Why the hell didn't it get released in cinemas? The characters in this movie are pretty much the same characters that we all know from the show. And there is a ton of characters to get through in this movie. But I won't waste any time then beating around the bush, and we'll just dive right into the characters. Like Buster Bunny, who's the wacky character who loves playing tricks and loves having water pistol fights with Babs.
I knew this water thing to Babsy throughout the entire video.
While Babs, voiced by Trez MacNeille, is still the bunny of 1,000 voices and the voice of common sense in the duo. Babs is kinda like one of those friends you know at school or know in your everyday life who loves to do impressions of other people and actors. And it really shows in this movie as well as the TV series. And I love how this movie as well as the TV show gives Trez MacNeille the chance to show off a number of her voices that she can do.
Ah, Ricky, I wanna be in this show.
And she's pretty much the voice of common sense in the whole adventure. Whereas Buster is always trying to make jokes and doing wisecracking. Fifi LaFume, voiced by Kat Susie, Cafes, goes on a summer journey to find her favourite movie star, Johnny Pugh, voiced by Rob Paulson, and it shows how she'll pretty much do anything to get an autograph from him. But as the film goes on, we learn that Johnny Pugh is a complete dick.
I will die for you.
I know, but that won't be necessary. You can just carry my stuff.
In most cases, this kind of storyline would get pretty boring pretty fast. But because of Fifi's character and the stuff she goes through while trying to get an autograph from her favourite movie star, it makes it all the more entertaining. And as it goes on, we see how her heart breaks more and more as she learns how much of a living piece of garbage Johnny really is. And yeah, go ahead and say what you like about Fifi the Fume, how she's just a copy of Peppy the Pew, only shorter, purple, bigger tail, a girl voiced by Kathy, however the hell you pronounce her last name. But she's definitely become one of the most iconic Tiny Toons characters. Which makes fans wonder why the hell she didn't get more appearances to herself or major roles in the show. She's one of those characters that's gained a huge cult following as years went on, especially on DeviantArt, with fan pictures of her in certain types of images that I don't really want to go into at this point in time, but you'll have to look it on DeviantArt to see what I mean. Elmira Duff's storyline isn't very interesting, it's just her torturing a ton of innocent animals, which we've seen dozens of times in the show, so there's not really much to talk about that. Even though there's nothing really new to talk about considering Elmira in this film, we can talk about the actress who plays her, Cree Summer, who does a fantastic job as usual. Whatever character she voices, whether it be in Tiny Toon Adventures, Codename Kids Next Door, or Inspector Gadget, her voice just suits the characters really well. And it shows in this film as well as the other projects that Cree Summer has been in. And it makes me wonder why Cree Summer doesn't appear in that many other successful projects anymore. Yeah, I'm sure she's appeared in other projects since then, but I just don't seem to hear her voice as much around these days. Shirley the Loon is a duck who often tampers with fortune-telling and psychic powers in order to do her daily duties. And this whole film has her having to put up with Foulmouth, who most people consider to be a very annoying character, but also voiced by Rob Paulsen. Man, Rob Paulsen voices a shit ton of characters these days, doesn't he?
Honey, what do you want?
He called me honey.
But in my opinion, the best storyline in this movie involves Plucky as he travels with Hampton's family to the Disney World knockoff Happy World land, which results in him going on a road trip from hell. I think pretty much everyone we know, or even ourselves, have been on this kind of car ride. And what makes this storyline really entertaining is how Hampton's family are really bad people and Hampton doesn't even know it. And many entertaining things happen during this storyline, like how they play Spot the Car, any car by the way.
There's a car, 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 there's a car. Fun game.
Eat classic meals like cream cheese and mayo on white with the crust cut off. But to me, one of the funniest parts of this storyline is how they pick up a hitchhiker who happens to be a wanted psychotic killer, also voiced by Rob Paulsen.
Where's the duck? Here, ducky, ducky, ducky.
What makes this part really funny is how oblivious Hampton's family is to the psychotic killer that they just picked up, even though they described what he looks like on the bloody radio.
I'll take stupid pills this morning.
And I won't give away what happens when they finally do get to Happy World Land, but trust me when I say it's hilarious and worth watching all the way through.
I miss school.
Plucky Duck, voiced by the late Joe Alasky, has always been one of my favourite characters from Tiny Toon Adventures. Mostly due to the fact that he's basically a copy of Daffy Duck, only shorter, and has green fur, and has less of a lisp. But this guy's always been one of my favourite characters because I've always loved Daffy Duck and how selfish and greedy he could be. And Plucky is quite selfish and greedy in his cartoons as well. But in this one he's just more desperate to go to what's said to be the happiest place on Earth.
The happiest place on Earth is a registered Disneyland copyright.
Shut up.
And there's just so many movie references in this film that have Steven Spielberg's name written all over it that it would take me a decade to go through them all. And that really does make sense since Steven Spielberg worked on Tiny Toons. My favourite one being the reference to the THX sound effects in the cinema.
Now dead.
And it's quite funny what they've done to poor E.T. The animation in How I Spent My Vacation is some of the best animation in Tiny Toon Adventures by far. It was the same company that did some of the animation sequences in Tiny Toon Adventures episodes, as well as Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain and Freakazoid. And it's definitely some of the best animation in the show. Out of all the different animation companies that Warner Brothers owned at the time, the one they picked for How I Spent My Vacation was really the best one, as it's some top-notch animation for a TV and direct-to-video film. As years go by, the film has gained more and more of a cult following, and there's many people out there who claim that it should have gotten a theatrical release since it had the animation style of a theatrical film. And this was the same kind of thing that happened with Animaniacs' movie Wacko's Wish that was a direct-to-video film when it should have gotten a theatrical release in my opinion. But after all these years, how was Tiny Toons How I Spent My Vacation? still one of the best animated films of the 90s in my opinion, and it definitely should have gotten a theatrical release. Tiny Toon Adventures How I Spent My Vacation is definitely one of the funniest animated films from Warner Brothers from the early 90s. And as I said, it continues to gain a cult following even to this day with Tiny Toon fans and Warner Brothers animation fans alike. Not to mention the fact that Steven Spielberg was the executive producer and many writers like Paul Dini, Tom Ruegger and Sherry Stoner worked on this film as well as the show. This is one of those films where there's no huge storyline or big obstacles to overcome or main villain who's trying to take over the world and the characters have to save the world from him and whatever. It's just a simple film about the characters and how they spend their summer holidays in Acme Acres and beyond. And it's really nice to have simple films like that. Before the Peanuts movie came out a few years ago, I don't think we'd had a movie like that ever since Tiny Toon Adventures How I Spent My Vacation. So it's quite nice to take a break from all those big 3-act stories that we get in movies these days and just watch something simple. So in my opinion, Tiny Toon Adventures How I Spent My Vacation is one film that definitely should have gotten a theatrical release, like Wacko's Wiz should have gotten a theatrical release. But for now we can all enjoy it on VHS and DVD. So if you haven't watched it yet, definitely put it on and get some Warner Brothers animation adventure with the tiny, toony, all the little loony characters we all know and love. So if you're feeling a little hot under the collar, then definitely put this movie on and enjoy some Tiny Toon cartoon adventure. I'm Dalek44, and I'll see you next time folks. And hopefully it won't be 30 fucking degrees. Ah well. Need more orange juice.
I miss school.